No, I haven't got any previous political experience. And I think that's part of the reason I've decided to run. And I think that's part of the reason we should see more people, and we are seeing more people, such as myself, running. The idea of sort of you go into student politics, then you become a political staffer, and then you eventually get elected. I think that's really bad. I think politics should be for the people. And I think more ordinary people should be running for politics. And I'm glad to see that it's starting to happen.
Now, look, I introduced you as a Liberal Democrats candidate, but that might not be your party name fairly soon. Well, obviously there was that High Court ruling that basically said, you had to change your name. It might be, Liberty and Democracy Party. It might just be Lib Dems. What do you make of that ruling?
Well, first of all, and I think most importantly for myself here, is it does not affect the states. So this is only for the AEC, so only for federal elections. So as far as I'm concerned here in South Australia, we will be running as the Liberal Democrats. We are on the ballot. The ballot paper's already out. I've already voted. And we're on the ballot as Liberal Democrats, less government, more freedom. So from my perspective here in South Australia, it's not too much of a concern for myself. As far as what happens going forward federally for the party, I think people are working on that right now. So I don't have a whole lot to say on that, unfortunately.
All good, but obviously, it actually goes into the next question pretty well here. The actual name on the ballot. You will be under Liberal Democrats. Do you believe it could, intentionally or not mislead voters? I mean, Anthony Green, who is, well-respected election expert, he pointed out that your party drew column A rather, on the Legislative Council ballot paper. He also pointed out, your party polling 9.5% in the 2013 New South Wales Senate election was largely, in his words, due to confusion. Do you believe there could be some voters who could intend to vote Liberal and end up voting Lib Dems just based on your name alone?
Look, I think it's possible. I'm not going to say there's not a single voter in history that's ever done that. I'm sure it does happen. But I think it's a really minuscule number. And look, here's the reality: is no one will ever know exactly how many voters voted for whatever reason they did. That's the beauty of the secret ballot. But I have a much higher view of the voters of Australia than maybe Anthony Green does. All respect to him, he does a great job. But I think a lot of people are fed up with the major parties. And I think, if anything, maybe we should be worried that people might get confused with us with the Liberal Party. I mean, there's so many people who are upset. John Ruddock didn't leave the Liberal Party because he got confused by the name. Neither did Campbell Newman. Neither did Ross Cameron. So I think it's really sort of a bit disingenuous to say that's like the main reason we might get such votes. And I mean, everyone wants the first spot on the ballot. There's no news about that. There's a reason they raffle it off and they try and make it as impartial as possible, because that spot is valuable. But I think it just goes, I mean, you could make the same argument that the closer you are to the left of the ballot, the more likely you're going to get more votes. And that's also true. So these kind of correlations, I don't really like to read too much into them, because I really trust the voters of Australia and South Australia, and I think they know exactly what they're doing.
All right, now, I was reading over your party's freedom stuffed up here proclamation, which
Yep.
speaks about ending vaccine mandates. Now, it states that, quote, many healthcare workers are trained and immediately ready to re-enter the workforce. Not only are vaccine mandates unethical, but they've put needless strain on our healthcare system. What do you say to those people who may be immunocompromised or have family members who are immunocompromised and want every action taken to ensure they're safe when receiving care from healthcare workers?
I mean, I think people should have that choice if they want, but I think you're much worse off waiting in an ambulance to get treatment from a healthcare worker than potentially getting treated by an unvaccinated person. So if someone really wants to wait for an unvaccinated healthcare staff member to attend to them, I suppose they should be free to do that. But I think really we've got to look at the reality of the situation. It's not you're going to get treated by an unvaccinated person or you're going to get treated by a vaccinated person. It's you're going to get treated by an unvaccinated person or you're going to get treated by no one. And I think most people would much rather get treated by an unvaccinated person than by no one.
Yeah, now, just quickly, I want to know about your chances of getting elected, in your opinion. Have you been speaking on the ground to people about, issues that matter to them? That's actually the slogan we use for this show. But have you actually been speaking to people about, issues? And if so, have they been telling you anything that they really are concerned about?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the ground for most of the campaign since I've been endorsed as a candidate. And yeah, I hear a lot about issues. I mean, the real issue and that's why I probably talk about it so much, is the COVID stuff for most people. But there's certainly other issues that need to be attacked, and I look forward to attacking them. And that's, energy independence is something I've been talking about recently as well. I think here in South Australia, it's pretty abysmal what happens with our energy. And we have an abundance of uranium here. We have geologically stable land. And I think the fact that I'm not saying, we have to go down a nuclear path, but the fact that it's not even on the table, that it's not even an option, that there's an embargo and there's, a prohibition on nuclear, I think that's absolutely absurd. And that's something that definitely needs to be looked at. In terms of my chances of winning, look, I'm not running to lose. I'm not running to be a paper candidate. I'm definitely here to win. The first ballot position obviously helps, but I look forward to winning, and I hope that I can, and I think that I can even bring along my running mate Peter McMahon with me as well.
All right, we wish you luck. SA election this Saturday. James Hol, Liberal Democrats candidate. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Thanks so much, Leo. Great to be here.